Good evening, everyone. I'm Bethany Cates. Thanks for joining us this evening here at the Knights of Columbus in Jefferson City, where just over an hour ago, this was a voting poll location, and now you can see it has become a watch party for those who take a no stance on Missouri's Amendment 3. Roberts says that educational funding split could be distributed amongst 400 plus K through 12 school districts, religious schools, charter schools, colleges and universities, parochial schools, and private schools in the state of Missouri. And they have started signing their names on these sheets of paper just to show others how much it meant to them. If we take a look at this map here from our affiliate in St. Louis, KSDK, you can see a majority of the votes came from Kansas City and a nice amount from St. Louis. And the Columbia Citizens Police Review Board is continuing to navigate an uncertain future. Tonight, the board met for the first time since October. And the Tigers aren't the only ones preparing. Many businesses and law enforcement agencies are also preparing for tonight's season opener. Now I'm going to take a step out of the way so you can see the tailgaters and fans making their way towards Faurot Field.
Be clear, this is one of the biggest civil rights prison death cases in America.
After 10 months, we are getting to see the video of what happened in the 30 minutes before Othell Moore was found dead.
So it started with an unconstitutional search and seizure. It ended with Othell handcuffed, Othell legs shackled, Othell blood coming out of his mouth, spit mask placed over his head.
Let's take a look at the video released Tuesday. You can see the search taking place on the floor. And if you look closely in the left-hand corner, you can see altercations taking place with Moore. He is then restrained and rolled into a holding room where he is left with very little attention, according to the Action Injury Law Group. The attorneys working on this case say the lack of medical attention from medical staff is extremely disturbing.
They claim to be a, quote, a beacon for innovative healthcare solutions tailored for correctional facilities. They go on to quote, patient care is their top priority.
The Missouri Department of Corrections has discontinued the restraining device used on Moore. Attorney Stephen Hart says what you saw in the video has been happening for years.
Systemic problem that exists within the Missouri prison system, and specifically the Jefferson City Correctional Center, was on full display in the video.
Education is really important to me, and that's why I'm voting for Amendment 2.
Amendment 2, a deceptive measure they claim will fund education.
On the surface, political professor Peveril Squires says the motivation behind a yes vote on the bill is simple.
The advertising right now is promising large sums of money, or seemingly large sums of money, for education that will be produced through the sports betting.
But Missouri voters will have to decide if they believe the state will deliver on Amendment 2.
The problem is, of course, the legislature, it can be remarkably creative in moving funds around. And so while there are certain assurances that are being offered that this will produce more money for education than would have been the case, it's not clear that will actually happen.
Historically, the state has said it uses casino revenues to increase educational funds. However, Jason Roberts, the president of the Kansas City Teachers Union, is skeptical about the amounts of money being promised.
Way back in the 90s, when they asked us to pass casinos, they promised us that if you do that, we're going to fully fund education and you're never going to have any other education problems. That did not happen.
According to the Secretary of State, the amendment would place a 10% wagering tax on revenues received to be appropriated for educational expenses. But Roberts says the ballot language does not include a non-supplant clause.
What they're trying to tell us is the state already funds education at X amount, and this is going to be extra money. So with the absence of a non-supplant clause, the government obviously likes this because they can reduce the amount that they are contributing to education. This isn't additional funds.
Now, Roberts says that educational funding split could be distributed amongst 400 plus K through 12 school districts, religious schools, charter schools, colleges and universities, parochial schools, and private schools in the state of Missouri, leaving very little money on the table.
And if we did see a $5 million increase divided among everyone, it's not enough to make the promises that they're telling us that they're going to give us.
While the actual revenue generated from sports betting for education remains unknown, the decision now lies in the hands of Missouri voters.